Good morning.
Good morning.
Happy May Day.
Happy May Day.
Happy May Day.
Happy May Day.
We'll pretend that it's a beautiful sunny spring day. I'm Meg Riley. I'm one of the ministers covenanted with this congregation to help out, and it's my joy to be here this morning on May Day. May Day, that holiday that marks spring, the earth's rebirth, fertility, sexuality. May Day, that holiday that also really is a holiday in a lot of parts of the world, that marks the need for worker solidarity, for justice, for good working conditions. It makes so much sense that today we're celebrating environmental justice, which lifts up both of these elements, honoring the earth and also acknowledging what we must do in order to continue the flourishing of life on our beloved planet. You can see the environmental justice team because they have on these cool green vests. You see them around today. A couple of you want to identify yourselves just so people can see the cool green vests. Yeah, that's just cool. After the service, there will be lots of activities that they and other people will be introducing you to in the social hall, so I encourage you to go down there. If you're visiting or considering First Universalist as a faith home, consider coming to First Step, a 40-minute introduction to UUism and First Universalist. After the 9 o'clock service, there was a meeting, and after this 11 o'clock service, there is a time on Zoom, and the Zoom link is on the website. A special shout out to those of you joining us not in the hall today. Hello, wherever you are. Happy May Day. It's time to get new name tags with bigger text and pronouns. Members are invited to find the link to order one in the Liberal newsletter or via the QR code on the tables in the narthex. All these years, I honestly can't remember what a narthex is, but I bet you all know. It's one of those church words, right? I don't know. The flowers today were arranged by visual arts member Rita Franset. Our theme this month of May is Who Tells Your Story? The poet Muriel Rukeyser wrote that the world is made of stories, not of atoms. In our world today, stories compete on every level for our attention. Some of them are stories that have killed and will kill us, and some are stories that have healed and will heal us. Who tells our stories, and what stories do we tell ourselves about the earth, about one another, about what it means to live a good and faithful life together? For those of you who have been celebrating Ramadan, we wish you an Eid Mubarak, or blessed feast, as you conclude this holiday tomorrow. We gather here as a people of many stories, many spiritual journeys, many longings, many languages, many places in our own life story. May our time together strengthen each one of us individually, and may we touch the strength that can only come collectively. I invite you to come fully into your body, to take 3 good breaths, smooth breaths, deep breaths, just to arrive. It is good to be together. Come, let us worship together.
And in this collective breathing, we acknowledge that Minnesota is located on the traditional, ancestral, and contemporary lands of Indigenous peoples. As people residing on this land that was cared for and called home by the Anishinaabe, Dakota, or Northern Cheyenne peoples, and other Native peoples from time immemorial, we offer this land acknowledgement, affirm tribal sovereignty, and hold ourselves and affiliations accountable to American Indian peoples and nations. Also, we acknowledge and honor the Black, Asian, and immigrant peoples who built the wealth and infrastructure of this land, much of it as racialized slaves. this traumatic legacy of which exists today in the USA, where slavery still flourishes legally as mass incarceration. We commit to building a just and equitable world together with and for people of all colors. In solidarity with all of our relatives, we commit to ensuring a planet more secure, harmonious, safe, and life-giving for all people, the four-leggeds, the birds, the fish, the trees, the plants, the insects, the soil, and the minerals, the water, lakes and streams, the sun and stars and moon.
Please stand and join me in singing For the Beauty of the Earth. For the of the earth, for the splendor of the skies, for the love from which our birth over and around us lies. Source of all, to thee we raise this our hymn of grateful praise. For the joy of ear and eye, for the heart and mind's delight, for the mystic harmony, linking sense to sound and sight. Source of all, to thee we raise this our hymn of grateful praise. For the wonder of each hour of the day and of the night, hill and vale and tree and flower, sun and moon and stars of light. Source of all, to thee we raise this our hymn of grateful praise. For the joy of human care, sister, brother, parent, child, for the kinship we all share, for all gentle thoughts and mild. Source of all, to thee we raise this our hymn of grateful praise.
Please join me in saying the words of lighting our chalice. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant to dwell together in peace, to speak the truth in love, and to help one another.
Hey, good morning. My name is Liz Farmer, and I'm the membership coordinator here at First Universalist. This morning, I share with you words of the poet Hannah Stevenson. As you stand at the edge of the forest and stare into it, every tree at the edge will blow a little extra oxygen toward you. It has been proven. Leaves have admitted it. The pines I have known have been especially candid. One said that all breath in this world is roped together, that breathing is the most ancient language.
Good morning, my name is Matt Keller. I'm on the board at church here. Trees may look like solitary individuals, but the ground beneath us tells a different story. Through chemical signals and fungi, there is a wood-wide web of partnership beneath the ground. Part of what it means to be in this church is to know that we are a community, that we come from nature, and that we come together to love, care for, and support each other. We come with many longings, identities, needs, resources, stories, and ways of expressing ourselves. Through this network of our beingness, we are saying we belong to each other. And we've been that way for 160 years. People have been saying yes to placing love and care at the center of their lives by becoming members of this congregation. Today, it is our joy to warmly welcome the newest members of First Universalist Church. Becoming a member of this congregation means publicly and ritually acknowledging that we need each other, that there is more to the life of the Spirit than what we can each muster on our own. We need a community to journey with us through times of transition and heartbreak. We need a community to keep challenging us to act for justice and multiply our love. We want to be a part of something that matters.
As planted acorns sprout into saplings and over many years transform into trees, they are constantly talking, trading resources, and taking care of each other. By plugging into the network inside and around their roots, trees can share resources with each other. In this way, we need community to orient us toward living with depth, honesty, humility, and compassion.
Through fungi, roots, trunks, and leaves, the forest breathes, listens, sends messages, shares resources, makes space for one another, and witnesses the life cycle. At First Universalist, membership is an affirmation that we are casting our lot with this community that is committed to living our values in the world, that welcomes, affirms, and protects the light in each human heart, that listens to where love is calling us next and acts for justice with humility, bravery, and compassion, because we believe that more life and more love is the way of living out these commitments together with other human beings. So at this time, I invite the young people to come please join us up on the chancel and find an acorn hat, and I would invite the new members as well to come join us up on the chancel as well. So come on up. Make your way towards Matt. Yep. All the way down. Good morning. Can bunch up a little too. Excuse me. I'm sorry. We good?
Established trees provide younger trees with nutrients, giving them a better chance of survival. And young trees, yes, even acorns, encourage us to grow. We got more acorns. New members, we are grateful that your life's journey has brought you here and that you have decided to make a commitment to join your life with the greater life of this faith community. Friends, when you become members of this church, you agree to journey and transform with us. In your gift bags representing this, you will find seeds, sprouts that can grow in a jar, no garden needed, and a chalice, decorated by folks of all ages in this community, which represents the light, spilled light, needed to grow inviting us towards its warmth. In the presence of the gathered congregation, do you affirm your commitment to share with us the joys and responsibilities of membership? Please answer, we do.
We do.
The bag's going to get distributed?
Yep.
They get each of them gets a bag. Come on over here. Here we go. There you go. Thank you.
Did everyone get one?
All the new members get a bag? One more. New members, you are not now nor will you ever be alone on your journey. You're in the company of all those who have gone before us and all those who are currently members. In the gathered body of the congregation this morning, both in the room and online, I know that there are many different relationships to First Universalist, such as visitors, friends, and guests. Congregation, whether you're on DuPont or in your house or wherever you are, would you please rise in body or spirit if you are a member of this congregation? Members of First Universalist Church, do you welcome these new members as you were once welcomed, as equal members of this congregation, of this faith, and of our shared spiritual journey? If so, please say or write in the chat, we do. We do. They do. Where's Matt? Matt?
Does everyone have an acorn? Thank you.
The ancient language of the trees is our language too. We are a part of a great web of connection and life, listening for the call of community with a longing for one another that is mutual. We are all at once acorns and trees, growing, transforming, giving and receiving, singing, cooking for one another, holding steady, rooted. The network creates a thriving community between individuals, giving, receiving, and growing. This joyous celebration continues in the social hall after the service, with treats and Earth Day activities for all ages. And right now, please join me in welcoming these beloved new members into this faith community.
Please join us in singing Blue Boat Home, number 1064 in the Teal Hymnal.
Waking
before me. Sing the sky my sailor's song. I was born upon the fathoms. Never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home.
In a moment, the children and youth who are here in the building will be invited to head to other parts of the building for religious education classes. Whether we're in the sanctuary or at home or in a classroom on Sunday morning, we all gather for the same purpose: to open our minds, to expand our hearts, to settle our bodies, to grow our spirits. May all know ourselves beloved, and may we do our part to build a world of love and liberation for all, starting here, right now, wherever you are. As our young people depart, take a moment to greet one another.
Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power. Spirit, draw near. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power. Spirit, draw near. Church, let us pray. Let us imagine we drop a stone into a quiet pond, and the concentric circles ripple out. Every breath we take is another ripple of love and connection. As we sink into our bodies even deeper, we feel breath and love move through our bodies like a ripple moves through a body of water, expanding, widening. Our own body is the first concentric circle. Let us take a moment to notice what is true and real for us, and where we have joys, and where we have sorrows, and how finely they are woven together. We take a moment to offer ourselves love and to receive it, and we breathe. In the next circle, we connect to our families and friends. We hold them in love and connection too.
We know they have many joys and many sorrows, and we hold these alongside them. We love them, and we feel their love returning to us. And we breathe. And in this circle, that is this community of communities, this church, we hold the beginnings and the endings and the life that happens in between. Our thoughts are with the family and friends of Susan Clace, who died at home, surrounded by her children on April 25th. Susan served as Director of Finance and Administration here from 2011 to 2013. Our thoughts are with Reverend Jen and her family, as her brother Chris remains hospitalized with COVID. We hold in our hearts the high school seniors and their families as they enter these last months of school. Many are in the midst of making decisions about what comes next in their lives, and we hold you all in this exciting and tender time. And we breathe. Those of us online, take a moment in the chat, if we haven't already, to share our joys and our sorrows. Those of us here in the sanctuary, take a moment to name our joys and our sorrows. Out loud, you can murmur them or you can speak them quietly in your heart. And we breathe. The concentric circles grow even wider. They encompass our larger communities here in the Twin Cities and wherever we're joining online. Love and connection flows from the center, ever expanding. And we breathe. Our circle grows ever wider. It encompasses the earth and all its creatures, all our friends and relations. The ducks and the otter, the spiders and the worms, the grass and the flowers, and all the living things. The acorns, the trees. The love in our heart grows and builds, and the earth loves us back. In the words of Robin Wall Kimmerer shared last week, knowing that you love the earth changes you, activates you to protect and defend and celebrate. But when you feel that the earth loves you in return, that feeling transforms the relationship from a one-way street to a sacred bond. We rest in that sacred bond now. We know ourselves loved and loving. We breathe, and together we pray. May the grip of addiction be loosened. May the weight of oppression be lightened. May truth be told. May grief be shared. May joy break through. And may love make every suffering bearable for us all. Amen.
Spirit of life,
Let's tell a story together. Thank you. Some of you will recognize it, and you can help me out. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And the earth was without form, and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. And then God created the night and the day, the sun and the moon. All the things, God created all the things. Just name things. What did God create? Animals, trees, rocks, rivers, all the things. God created all the things. Yes. And at the end of all of the things, God created Adam and Eve. And God placed all of his creation in a garden, a perfect world. And there was only one rule. Don't eat the apple. That was the rule. And what happened? They ate the apple. They ate the apple, and they were cast from the garden. And an angel with a fiery sword was set to guard the entrance. And Adam and Eve and all of their descendants had to negotiate sickness and death and hate and hunger from then and forevermore. Whoa. That's a creation story right there. Yeah. And I know some of you are laughing, and some of you are maybe laughing because you grew up with that story, and maybe there's a little in that laughter, right? There's feelings about this creation story. So let's take a moment to breathe and be in our bodies, look around, remember that we're here, not there, here. And this is one of the creation stories that we work with. Okay, now I'm going to tell you another creation story. Then I'm going to compare the two, and we're going to talk about why creation stories matter and what that has to do with Earth Week and environmental justice. Does that sound good? Okay. This other story is an indigenous story about a woman who fell from the sky. And I got it from this book, The Truth About Stories, A Native Narrative, by Thomas King, who is a Native Canadian professor of English and author, and who in 2003 delivered the CBC Massey Lectures. And this book is a collection of those lectures. And in the virtual order of service, there is a link to him actually delivering these lectures. You must go listen to Thomas King. I'm giving you but a little tiny bit of his wisdom today. It is such a gift to listen to him, tell these stories, and give us his analysis. So you're going to go listen, right? Yes, thank you. Thank you. And before I tell this story, there's one more thing that I want to say. In this story, there are a couple of moments where we describe men and women as part of the story. I want to say that the way that I interpret that is as two ends on a continuum of different energies and ways of being that is much more vast than just the binary. I want to name that, okay? All right. Back at the beginning of imagination, already I love this story. Back at the beginning of imagination goes this story. The world we know as Earth was nothing but water, while above the Earth, somewhere in space, was a larger, more ancient world. And on that world was a woman who was too curious for her own good. She was so curious that one day when she was digging a hole, she's like, I'm just going to keep digging. And she kept digging, and she dug a hole all the way through the earth, through that world. And because she was so curious, she's like, and she started to lean in and look, and whoop, all of a sudden, she fell through. and she started falling towards Earth. On Earth, all the water animals were hanging out and having a good time. Fortunately, one of them looked up and saw the woman. And Thomas King names her Charm, so I'm going to name her Charm too. The animals look up and see Charm falling, and they're like, uh-oh. And the ducks fly up and catch her together and slowly flap down and bring her down, but there's nowhere to put her. So they decide to put her on the back of the turtle. Okay, that's a solution for now, but not ideal, particularly because it turns out that Charm was pregnant. And so that's, raising a family on a turtle, very difficult. No. So Charm told the animals, we need magic mud from the bottom of the ocean. And the animals were like, okay, never heard of mud, but sure. Let's have a contest to see who can get to the mud. Oh boy, that sounds like fun. Okay, so animal after animal tries diving as deep as they can. But they come back up, shaking their heads and saying, nope, I don't think there's a bottom. I couldn't find anything. Finally, Otter is the only animal left. So Otter takes a deep breath and goes down, down, down. And she was gone for 4 days. Everyone wondered what had happened. On the 4th day, Otter's body floated up, and everyone said, oh no, Otter drowned trying to get the mud. So they heaved Otter's body up to the back of the turtle, and then they noticed that in Otter's paws, there was indeed a dark, gooey thing that they had never seen before. Is that mud, they asked. Yes, said Charm, that's mud. Otter found the mud, said the animals. And then Otter, who wasn't dead after all, but just very, very tired and out of breath, said, of course I found the mud. This magic better be worth it. And it was. And Charm created a muddy, muddy world. And then she gave birth to 2 twins, one right-handed and one left-handed. And one twin flattened the mud and made beautiful prairies, and the other twin stomped around and made valleys and mountains. And the twins kept working together, one of them creating things that were very nicely organized, and the other making them a little more chaotic, a little more creative. One twin created roses, and the other one put thorns on it. One created summer, and the other created winter. One created sunshine, and the other created shadows. And the animals helped too, suggesting that trees should have nuts and fruits, and appreciating when the forests weren't trees all lined up in a row, but had more interesting and mysterious places. And now I need to read the end of this story to you directly, because it's so sweet. Have we forgotten anything? The twins asked the animals. What about human beings? Said the animals. Do you think we need human beings? Why not? Said the twins. And quick as they could, the right-handed twin created women, and the left-handed twin created men. They don't look too bright, said the animals. We hope they won't be a problem. Don't worry, said the twins. You guys are going to get along just fine. The animals and the humans and the twins and Charm looked around at the world that they had created. Boy, they said, this is as good as it gets. This is one beautiful world. Right? Like, oh, I can hear like the little I also feel about that story. It's so lovely. And it feels really different in my body than the Judeo-Christian one. Now, why does this matter? And how do our creation stories inform our relationship with the natural world and our sacred trust to make this a livable world for the children of our children's children? In his first lecture, Thomas King gives us a scathing analysis of the difference between these two creation stories. And I'm just going to read it to you. Take a deep breath. What if the creation story in Genesis had featured a flawed deity who was understanding and sympathetic rather than autocratic and rigid? Someone who, in the process of creation, found herself lost from time to time and in need of advice. Someone who was willing to accept a little help with the more difficult decisions. What if the animals had decided on their own names? What if Adam and Eve had simply been admonished for their foolishness? I love you, God could have said, but I'm not happy with your behavior. Let's talk this over. Try to do better next time. What kind of a world might we have created with that kind of story? Unfortunately, by the time we arrived in the wilderness, broke and homeless, the story of being made in God's image, of living in paradise, of naming the animals must have gone to our heads. For while we weren't the strongest or the fastest or the fiercest creatures on the planet, we were certainly, as it turned out, the most arrogant. God's chosen people, the Alpha and the Omega, masters of the universe. It is this conceit we continue to elaborate as we fill up our tanks at the gas station. The myth we embrace as we bolt our doors at night. The romance we pursue as we search our guidebooks for just the right phrase. The lie we dangle in front of our appetites as we chase progress to the grave. Whoa. Take a breath. That is an indictment. And I'm pretty sure that I'm not the only person in the room that, when faced with the climate crisis, wants to build a blanket fort and play Candy Crush forever. Right? Amen? Yeah. So now we're going to do another story together. We're going to tell the difficult and heavy story about climate crisis. That's not the only story we're going to hear today, but we're going to tell that one first again as a comparison. So help me with the doom and gloom story. It's too late. The problem is too big. Fossil fuel companies own Washington. Let me hear the doom and gloom. There's nothing we can do about it. We're just one person. It's too late. We're out of money. It'll never be enough. It'll never be enough. We'll lose jobs. We can't change people's minds. Ooh, can you feel it? Can you feel the room just go? Wah. Shake it out. Join me in shaking it out. And breathe. Yes, that is one story. Does that story help us? No. Here's the thing. The only way that I can do my part to make sure that the children of my children have a world to live in is to believe that it's possible. Just like with immigration justice, with racial justice, with reproductive justice, with our fight to make a safe and just world for people of all abilities and all gender identities, we need to be able to imagine it. We need to be able to believe in it first. We need to be clear about what we are fighting for. So now, we're going to watch a leader in this movement. We're going to watch a short video with Greta Tunberg, who gives us a compelling story about our fight for climate justice. Let's watch and listen.
This is not a drill. My name is Greta Tunberg. We are living in the beginning of a mass extinction. Our climate is breaking down. Children like me are giving up their education to protest. But we can still fix this. You can still fix this. To survive, we need to stop burning fossil fuels. But this alone will not be enough. Lots of solutions are talked about. But what about the solution that is right in front of us? I'll let my friend George explain.
There is a magic machine that sucks carbon out of the air, costs very little, and builds itself. It's called a tree. A tree is an example of a natural climate solution. Mangroves, peat bogs, jungles, marshes, seabeds, kelp forests, swamps, coral reefs, they take carbon out of the air and lock it away. Nature is a tool we can use to repair our broken climate. These natural climate solutions could make a massive difference.
Pretty cool, right?
But only if we also leave fossil fuels in the ground.
Here's the crazy part. Right now, we are ignoring them. We spend 1,000 times more on global fossil fuel subsidies than on natural-based solutions.
Natural climate solutions get just 2% of all the money used on tackling climate breakdown.
This is your money. It is your taxes and your savings.
Even more crazy, right now when we need nature the most, we're destroying it faster than ever.
Up to 200 species are going extinct every single day.
Much of the Arctic ice is gone. Most of our wild animals have gone. Much of our soil has gone.
So what should we do?
What should you do?
It's simple. We need to protect, restore, and fund. Protect. Tropical forests are being cut down at the rate of 30 football pitches a minute.
Where nature is doing something vital, we must protect it.
Restore. Much of our planet has been damaged.
But nature can regenerate, and we can help ecosystems bounce back.
Fund.
We need to stop funding things that destroy nature and pay for things that help it.
It is that simple. Protect, restore, fund.
This can happen everywhere. Many people have already begun using natural climate solutions. We need to do it on a massive scale.
You can be part of this.
Vote for people who defend nature.
Share this video. Talk about this.
All around the world, there are amazing movements fighting for nature. Join them.
Everything counts. What you do counts.
I've watched this for a second time, for second service, and I still get goosebumps. Do you get goosebumps? There is this energy that becomes available when you really believe that what you do counts. Some of you may be asking, well, what will I do? We have a wonderful environmental justice team ready downstairs in the social hall to tell you. Let's go downstairs after the service and figure out the thing that we're going to do, the thing that we're going to try. I'm going to try eating less beef. That's one thing I'm going to try. And I'm also changing my water heater and my dryer from gas to electric. Those are two things that I'm doing right now. We all need to find the thing that we can do. And before doing, I need to be believing. I need to look at the stories and meanings that I make about myself and my relationship with all of creation. I need to hold fast and fierce to the possibility that a new world is possible, that change and transformation are real, that my efforts are worth it. Maybe you need that too. I end my message to you today with the words of the poet Aurora Levin Morales, and I invite you to breathe. Say these words when you lie down and when you rise up, when you go out and when you return, in times of mourning and in times of joy. Inscribe them on your doorposts, embroider them on your garments, tattoo them on your shoulders. Teach them to your children, your neighbors, your enemies. Recite them in your sleep, here in the cruel shadow of empire. Another world is possible. Thus spoke the prophet Roque Dalton. Altogether they have more death than we, but altogether we have more life than they. There is more bloody death in their hands than we could ever wield, unless we lay down our souls to become them, and then we will lose everything. So instead, imagine winning. This is your sacred task. This is your power. Imagine every detail of winning, the exact smell of the summer streets in which no one has been shot, the muscles you have never unclenched from worry, gone soft as newborn skin, the sparkling taste of food when we know that no one on earth is hungry, that the beggars are fed, that the old man under the bridge and the woman wrapping herself in thin sheets in the backseat of a car, and the children who suck on stones nest under a flock of roofs that keep multiplying their shelter. Lean with all your being toward that day when the poor of the world shake down a rain of good fortune out of the heavy clouds and justice rolls down like waters. Defend the world in which we win as if it were your child. It is your child. Defend it as if it were your lover. It is your lover. When you inhale and when you exhale, breathe the possibility of another world into the 37.2 trillion cells of your body until it shines with hope. Then imagine more. Imagine rape is unimaginable. Imagine war is a scarcely credible rumor, that the crimes of our age, the grotesque inhumanities of greed, the sheer and astounding shamelessness of it, the vast fortunes made by stealing lives, the horrible normalcy it came to have, is unimaginable to our heirs, the generations of the free. Don't waver. Don't let despair sink its sharp teeth into the throat with which you sing. Escalate your dreams. Make them burn so fiercely that you can follow them down any dark alleyway of history and not lose your way. Make them burn clear as a story-drinking gourd over the grim fog of exhaustion and keep walking. Hold hands, share water, keep imagining so that we and the children of our children's children may live. Amen, and blessed be. Please rise in body and spirit and join in singing hymn 1020 in the Teal hymnal, Woyaya.
We are going, heaven knows where we are going, but we know within, and we will get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will.
Minnesota Interfaith Power and Light, MNIPL, is a First Universalist Faithful Action community partner. We're splitting today's collection plate proceeds between MNIPL and the Environmental Justice Team's project to rejuvenate our church grounds and gardens with native plants. First Universalist is currently designated a climate justice congregation, and MNIPL is updating our status through a review of our environmental justice team's goals. MNIPL connects with our racial justice actions through pipeline resistance and support for Indigenous water protectives and their non-Indigenous allies in the struggle for climate justice. MNIPL has helped First Universalist by providing Be the Spark trainings to guide us in launching a program. Of climate conversations. In this program, congregants having ideas and concerns about climate change will be able to share them in confidence with members of the environmental justice team. We hope these conversations will lead to organized climate-related actions by the First Universalist congregation. For those of you who are online, you'll see instructions on your screen to text or to give via the church website. Please give generously.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright blessed days, the dark sacred night, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I'll hear babies cry, I'll watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
Amy Franco, thank you. It is a wonderful world. It is. And we have a part in believing it so. Let's do that. Yeah? Yeah, let's support each other and stay connected and pay attention. And when one of us is like, I don't know, the other one can be like, yes, yes, yes. And we'll take turns. All right? So let's go down to the social hall all together. I'll see you down there, and we'll figure out what we're doing next. Let us go in peace. Amen.